Lemon, lime, soda skies, lucky like a four-leaf clover. Strawberry, slice of life, singing with a sip of nectar. Sweet like honey on a summer day, I'll stick with you through the wind and the rain. Sweet like honey on a summer night, like a busy bee, take a flight. 2, 1, go! Sweet like honey, sweet like a summer day. Sweet like honey, sweet like a summer day. Sweet like honey, sweet like honey, honey. Sweet like honey, sweet like a summer day. Sweet like honey, sweet like honey, honey. Sweet like honey, sweet like a summer day. Flying high, take the dive, blue waves across the ocean. Honey straight from the hive, live it up and go with the motion. Sweet like honey on a summer day, I'll stick with you through the wind and the rain. Sweet like honey on a summer night, like a busy bee, take a flight. 2, 1, go! Sweet like honey, sweet like a summer day. Sweet like honey, sweet like a summer day. Sweet like honey, sweet like honey, honey. Sweet like honey, sweet like a summer day. Sweet like honey, sweet like honey, honey. Sweet like honey, sweet like a summer day. Springtime with you, summer with me. Flowers in fields and little yellow bees. Watch as the time passes in a haze. Sweet honey nights and golden honey days. Sweet like honey, sweet like a summer day. Sweet like honey, sweet like a summer day. Sweet like honey, sweet like honey, honey. Sweet like honey, sweet like a summer day. Sweet like honey, sweet like honey, honey. Sweet like honey, sweet like a summer day. Look at what you've done. Is this what you call glory? Do you still believe you're the hero of your story? I longed for peace, but you couldn't leave it be. Now you've played your part in this forever unfinished symphony. Oh, it hurts and it's getting worse. A promise you made, cut down by your blade. Can't stand the rain, can't stand the pain. How it breaks my heart when you tear it apart. So why did you lie? Why did your words amount to nothing? And why
Can't food then. Hello, hi, welcome to the singing stream. I'm so fucking tired. But hello, you're probably wondering, what system are we loopholing? We're loopholing the copyright system because I have Spotify on my phone. So I can listen to my music there without worrying about Twitch coming for my ass. Because bestie, I have tuition I need to pay. But this is a good ass song, so I'm not gonna skip it. But also playing Minecraft because I don't want to do anything else. But also, hi still, please go fucking eat. Doing the hobbit hole? Bestie, this entire world literally just builds. Also, I have to work on that. Because this build has been in the work for- I have to finish the wall. This build is this build has been in the works for years. Why are you- okay, you're still blue. Okay, hi God. So I want to finish this build. It's the Hobbit Hole build. This is the Hobbit Hole build. We literally live in a Hobbit Hole. Is this even the right piece? Yes, it is. Did you leave me here with nothing? Do you want to see the Hobbit Hole? We can go see the Hobbit Hole. Also, hello. Hi. Also, Chirpy's here, or Gucci's here. We can go see the Hobbit Hole. I was like, did I break something? No, YouTube's just being a bitch. I'll take the dog song. Hello, Enderman. There it is. How are you? I'm very tired and mentally exhausted. Because people think that they can talk to me about my financial situation when it comes to school when they have little knowledge of what the fuck they're talking about. So I'm very fucking tired. Hobbit hole, bitch. Welcome, welcome. Look at me, you're probably wondering, how the fuck do you have green wood? Well, welcome to Texture Pack. It's also the reason I have purple wood. Also, hello, I forgot your name. Stop. Why'd you have to kill my cat? Why the fuck are you normal? I'm gonna sprinkle some. Wait, that's green? It's more blue. Actually, I'm pretty sure this is the normal wood. Oh, that's warped. My bad. There's, oh wait, no, there's, my brain forgot. There's actually different. Ignore how there's no texture there. Oh baby, isn't life so fucking consistent? Welcome to green. This took too fucking long. It's come back time. Hi Chirpy, what do you want? I'm not a boomer. It's time, but I'm not afraid of. No, you are not going on the computer. Perfume, but in fact, my dear, I'm fucking terrified. I know that you will be there one day. You are a boomer. No, the fuck, I'm not. So fucking. You can make that joke with V, not me. Hi, Chirpy. One day, oh baby, isn't I so fucking... What the fuck are you writing? Then you are colorblind. I thought we came to the conclusion I am, because this is not the first time I've got colors fucked up. What? What? Fucking hate people. One day, oh baby, isn't life so fucking inconsistent? Please tell me you didn't fuck up this area. Cool. Conclusion, I'm an absolute idiot. There's a clip where I accidentally, I think I say orange is green, and then immediately realize I said it and die inside. I'm lonely, my nightmares are my only friends. I'm suffocating in your company. Realize you're keeping me from breaking free from this storm. I'm mentally exhausted. Join the club. Join the club. We have a bar and a cry corner. Choose your poison. I'll find my home. Someday I will take it back, take it all back. Someday I will find my own way home. Gucci, what the fuck did you do? Chirpy, what did you do? I think so. I'll shed one tear. Perfect. Covered all the way. No way to replace. Colors turning gray. Wondering whether I should stay. Should I stay? Oh, someone at my nail salon, because I went to go get my nails done. Someone pointed out the colors I was doing. And this kid immediately goes, "Oh, you're doing green? Are you doing green and black for fills in Minecraft?" And I've never looked at a kid and went, "Excuse me?" I play the Eat Finch game. How is that? How are you emotionally? So yeah, a kid immediately knew. Gucci, stop hitting buttons. So yeah, there's a kid now in my town who knows I like fills in Minecraft. Was it all just a lie? Take a leap of faith. Take a leap of faith. And reach the sun in the sky. Realize you're keeping me from breaking free from this stone. Chase the day I find my happy ending. Keep on running, keep on hoping I'll find my home. I'm cried. I was fucked up after playing that game. And yet, that's my comfort game. What the fuck did you do? Gucci! Stop! Oh my god. Gucci's hitting random shit. But hi. Hi, Chirpy. Who fucked you up the most? See how I'd be comforting by the ending. Yeah, comfort by the fact that her son literally read all the death in her family.
It's too late to acknowledge our problems. Heard that you're greater, just wanted to say it ain't change us to love you. Tomorrow's not promised. Oh, by the way, fucking hate all the fame got you counting the days when your illness is chronic. Death really changes the way you behave. I'll remember your face when it smiles upon us. Reprobate, psych major, 666, so we like danger, tough luck.
I was in fucking tears. Who's ending whose story fucked you up the most? Honest. Head chop, dude. Ooh. Ooh. Yeah. Fun fact, I have his illness. But not to an extreme extent. I'm also pretty sure my dad's on a call with his parents. Yep, Chirpy's perked up. Someone's coming. Damn near traumatized. Time of that story. Welcome to maladaptive daydreaming. It's a bitch. It's ADHD plus overactive imagination on crack. How is that game hard? Will I love anyone? Turns out I've thought for the same reason as before. You could be told and the victims I love, will I ostracize the ones like me? Barbara's always confused me. I don't deserve you. You deserve the world. But it feels so like we were built from the same dirt. I hate to say it, your sister was right. I am busting this boy with far too much free time. And I hate to say it, your sister was right. I can't think but a problem, leave you crying overnight. And I hate to say it. Better die vibing if you're free. Cause on the future, only my short side. I hate to say it, my sister was right. Nigga, complete wanker, a fucking waste of time. Singing. I have Spotify open on my phone with the headphone in, so. Because I'm not trying to fight Twitch at the moment with their copyright system because they don't respond in time. Great Fest, I take that back. The only compliment was PC. Understandable. I never brought it down. Never he's around. But on the ground it bounce. With the way to the ground, I feel running down. I mean, washing a whole minute too. Cross the line, and you used to be so kind. But you had such a dirty mind. Where you're the doctor to leave, and you can never done it. It do be. Dude, they have a TikTok, and there's so many things I've discovered from their TikTok. I'm like, I did not know this. When my heart just starts like a glass balloon, died too high and it shut to the soul. I broke my glass balloon. I let go of my glass balloon. Oh, they call him Hermit the Frog. He's looking for a dog. Did you find your bitch in me? Oh, you're abominable socially. Just a little bit too much like me. What ending did you get? So kind. I'd give you my dirty mind. Tell you a secret. Can take your double standing and keep it. Starts like a glass balloon, and it shuts the sun. The fuck is this? Oh, never mind. Broke my glass balloon. Go up my glass balloon. How's your day been? Wanna play life? I wanna play. Yes, it is. I will say there is some like triggering things that happen in the game, but yeah, it's a really good game. But I would be very cautious of things you can and can't handle. Like a glass balloon. Oh shit, where's the glass? No! Fuck, I'll fix it. My glass balloon. Let go up. The amount of goddamn salmon in my fucking inventory is ridiculous. Get the fuck out. In this strange stream, falling backwards, in the inside out. Fall backwards and looking backwards. Why the heck is relaxing for me? Okay, cool. Bro, imagine being short. Goddamn. Shit. Okay, why are you so short? I'm not short. Bad idea. You are. Chirpy, fuck off. No. You have a whole other way around. Thank you. Oh, I washed. It hurts. Darling, are you ready for more? Was a bad idea. Oh god, my brain's hearing like 2 different musics and my brain's just like, stop it, please. There we go. Ancestors had to fight to survive, just so we can get a chance to survive. Not at all. It's fine. It's in a modern year. I'm trying to get back to best I can. No time before I was born. Do it. It's fine. You don't have to hurt everybody else. You don't have to finish in the one. Not you to conform. I'm here to take a look inside myself. Recognize that I can be the eye of the storm. I'm not my body, not my mind and my brain. Losing all my DNA. Between the stars in the sky. What's your purpose? Why were you put on earth? And then you lost me all through this world. And not being an unburied old age. Being broken and pain. Dreams in a modern land. Trying to get as far as I can. Back to a time before I was born. To a time before I had thought. Don't have to be like everybody else. You don't have to fit into the norms. For I am here to take. Hi! Hello! Could be the flag lights are so. Yes! Burning on my mind and my brains. Burning on my DNA. Conform, don't have to be like everybody else. I'm here to take a look inside myself. Recognize. Nah, if it's Lovejoy, everyone shut the fuck up. We play. Shit. got the same eyes as your father, and you carry the same kind of temper too. With people that have no community, it's that in a lot. Model citizen through and through. Quite like a girlfriend. I'll fuck shit up with you. We talk about the in the back of my car. Backseat of my car. Show me the ending, she's the star. Well now you need to calm down. What good's this energy? Devote to me, why not be a little more friendly? Now you need to calm down. She still think I'm me. Say my name in her sleep. Thought you knew her better than me. Pink costume, pink gloves. Hello. This is who? Gay? Yes. She's still running away from you. The same eyes as your father, and you carry the same kind of temper too. And she told me that she fucking hates you. Now you need to calm down. It's this energy. When you devoted to me, why not be a little more friendly? Now you need to calm down. Just don't think I need to say my name in her sleep. Thought you knew her better than me. Knew her better than me.
You break more than I make. My mother says you're up your own ass like stagehand and puppet show, but hell, what does she know? You're so appealing. We can barely see your hair receding. You're a man of few knees, little sleep thoughts are deep. Sound as good with let speech as I do when I'm sober. It's always right, you're never right. Get me out of it. You're just scared. You're just scared of the future. It's got a bus, it's got a void. Get me out of it. And you're just scared. You're just scared of the future. I guess this makes you right. The boys must be lucky that you didn't try out here tonight. 'Cause you're so relieving. You're like a breath of fresh air on a warm summer evening. It's up to you right, deciding the night is an override to make sure the song does. Wait. It's always right, you're never right. life harder. Sit stubborn in your stomach like your kidney stones, and yet all this over a kiss. You weren't there, why you pressed by this? But now it's turning 3 in the morning. The bouncers put you on his third warning, but I'm still here, I'm not leaving. You won't get what you need. You know it's always the same. It's all just a game. I had it my way. Sleep on the concrete. What you say to me? 'Cause I'm not sure they let you off easily. So pissed off march up to bus stop station with pissed off eyes glossed with early conversations, and the consequence of your desperation is the people on the night bus have to listen to you. And all I'm saying is, how can you look at yourself in the window pane without wanting to hit yourself? But your fist descends through the condensation. All this over a kiss. You weren't there, so why you pressed by this? Now it's turning 3 in the morning. The bouncers put you on his third warning, but I'm still here, and I'm not leaving. You won't get what you need.
My dad just came in for his birthday, and he came on with his grandparents. And I have never felt a string of panic in my life because my grandparents are slightly religious. And I cannot tell you the panic. I'm gonna go back a little bit because I was so focused on this call. But hello. Be back. Because religious people have a daughter or have a grandchild that does not follow any Christian norms. But your heart's on the right place. Oh, you're so appealing. I swear to God, I'm not hungry. You want this over. It's always right. You're gonna run. Get me out of this. 'Cause I'm just scared. I'm just scared of the future. It's always right. Run. Get me out of this. So I'm just scared. Guess this makes you right. The lucky that you wouldn't try out. It's a no. So even I was like, I swear. Fathom doesn't exist. Please punch them for me. It does exist. It's just because you do not believe in it does not mean it is real. Like, I do not believe in God, yet still people believe in him. Fight me. No, I love the argument, but I've made this so often where everyone's like, oh, you can't be trans because God made you in his image. Yeah, okay, you can dye your hair blonde. You can cut your hair, you can change, you can alterate parts of your body, but they can't, yeah, no. So just scared, so just scared of the future. I'm gonna run, get me out of this. So just scared, or just scared of the future. I'm always scared that there's like a fucking seaweed that breaks the sand. So I can punch him. Yay! I do not condone violence! But if you are a bigot, I will throw hands. Oh, okay. Because this is something I've been meaning to talk about. So, if you remember my tweet, I said I had a fucked up dream that I should not be able to remember. I still remember, which is very uncommon for me. 1, I don't get dreams. 2, I don't usually remember said dreams. But this one I remember down to a T. This just popped into my head. My friend just texted me being like, yo, I had a fucked up dream. Oh, that was almost perfect. So I'm in like a basement type area. If you've played any horror game when you're in a basement, that was the vibe. But while I was in this basement, I was like looking for like nothing in particular, and I was like flipping like a bunch of switches and like having to move things. I was basically in like a survival type thing. But when I tried to leave the room, it was one of those rooms that you leave, but it's basically like a vortex where I just walked back into the same room. So I flip all the switches and I like go through the door. Now this is a straight hallway in a hospital setup building. Again, I don't like hospitals for like no particular reasons. I just never had good experience with it. So I'm like walking through this, and there's a figure off to the side that is in all purple. So I ignore it. I go back into a different room, flip a bunch of switches. I find cats for some reason, and I've like put them in like particular areas. So I do that. I walk in. It is the same doctor's hallway, except there is now the purple figure is not there. It is a green figure that is walking in and out of the door on the side. I hate hallways. No, it is again, it feels like someone threw me in a horror game, but it is just bright lights on both sides, and I'm walking straight because I hear someone say, keep walking straight, like do not look behind you. So I don't remember like what the room was set up, because once I leave the hallway, I'm back into the basement type rooms. I don't remember what I did, but this time I walk into the hospital hallway. This one is different. There's 3 yellow figures running up and down, and I'm hearing in my head, do not run into them. So I'm like, and I'm not running, I'm walking, and I have 3 figures. There is one running up and down. There's one figure running up and down. There's one like going across, going into these doorways, and then there's just another one that's just like kind of going all crazy. No, I would actually turn around. Surprisingly, I didn't. Oh, wow, my mic is quiet. Sorry. But then I go back into the basement rooms, and I do the puzzle, whatever, and I end up back in the hospital. Pause, because I really like this song. But someone is now grabbing, like, once I get back in the hospital, the yellow figure is there, but she's crying in the corner, and a red figure is grabbing my hand and pulling me. It's 3:45 a.m. I just bite my tongue. Undate me on your life, but now you found the one. But I don't like his eyes, and I just trust the name. And I hate their haircut. They look like a prick, but it's all the same. You're drafting me to cry. Your tongue is razor sharp, and missed wearing a bye-bye. Left your heart on standby by the way he holds you, and he serenades you. I can't really blame you. I felt the perfume. Did it rub off on you? I still smell her perfume. Did it rub off on you? You say your ex-boyfriend's a policeman. Well, I say you need better standards. You say your ex-boyfriend's a policeman. You say you need better standards. It seems like all her friends abruptly fell in love, and she was in the dust, darling, life was streaming past. So she learned to lie, she learned how to pretend. A drama in the futile, it means to an end. Why can't you be a dick? Why must you be so nice? It's hard for me to move on when I don't really hate you. I don't really hate you. Still smell her perfume. Did it rub off on you? Still smell her perfume. Rub off on you. I just realized this stream is like vaguely of the FNAF like Reborn series. Or whatever, whoever made that game with like the animatronics, that was terrifying. And so this red figure has a deep hold on my wrist and I'm trying to like break out, but he is just like dragging me. So I go through the doors and like, you know in those horror games when like they tell you to run? Yeah, that popped up in front of my vision and I book it. And I'm running through the same 4 scenarios I just went through. But I don't remember. I'm cutting through. And I don't remember what the green and purple room was. But when I got to the yellow one, the yellow person is running like the opposite direction of me. She's not running towards me. She's running next to me. And then as I pass through that door, I get to the red person. And he is running after me. So I'm sprinting. But once I get through that door, I like cannot move. And I'm stuck in the same position with someone screaming in my ear, "You cannot do anything." And I'm so fucking confused because my vision is just going gold. No, I hate horror when you're like normally walking towards the creature pops out of the corner. Yeah, fuck no. But yeah, that was like one of the weirdest dreams I've had. Because I've never had dreams that are so detailed like that. No shit. Can you tell us something new? Like I've never had a dream where I can remember so much of it and like remember like such grave details. And it's the fact that I still remember it. How much of this do I need to... I'm wrecking this area so I don't accidentally recover this. Cameras in your dark secret, but you're talking in your sleep. Remastering a dream. Yeah, but like it didn't freak me out in such a sense because I woke up fine. Why is there a dead fish? I wouldn't tip you if it healed you. Yeah, I don't know. It's one of those dreams where I'm just like, this probably has some symbolism, but I'm gonna completely ignore that symbolism. It's getting for one day. Dry your eyes until the end. Ooh, this is the winter side. Perfect. I get to fuck around. And you wake up fine. Horror does not affect me in the way that it should. Like, I enjoy horror things because I'm pretty sure that's trauma. But I literally woke up completely fine. I don't even remember how I woke up. But like, it did not affect me in the sense of like, I was in a cold sweat. I was fine. I'm scared of horrors. I'm that person that someone took me to a haunted exhibit, and I laughed the entire fucking time. If you know what the 13th floor is, it is like a horror attraction thing. That is like, you go into a building, it's like, there's characters and all that. Yeah, I went into one of those and I came out fucking laughing. Cause there's a part where they had a train like honk in like a dark hallway, and like 3 people screamed, but I just laughed like a fucking sadist. Don't tell me there's a fucking hole. No, I don't want to. Actually, it's not too bad, but I don't want to deal with it. I'm covering it up anyways. But he won't seem to notice. Well, fuck me, okay. To this. Oh, also the beacons. Wait, no, the beacon's not gonna be here. That's gonna fall. Ready rolling. You are left to the. And the rappers will say, it's a marvelous view. We don't know how many lives it took, no. What you've been through. We're so calm, but we're fucking scared, fucking scared. You are a mastermind in horror dreams. Calm, but we're fucking scared, fucking scared. So calm, but we're fucking scared of people like you. No, I cannot play horror games, but like I can watch a horror movie and be completely fine. Demon. Like, you have to show me some fucked up shit for me to like be sick in a horror game or like a horror movie. This one count to you. The rappers will say this of you. I thought I could miss you so. Oh, girl, I've seen it. I watched Happy Tree Friends as a child. I'm immune to that shit. So come on, went all and see the apathy. Erase the voice and souls build the tapestry. I look to all of you and see a different fucking species. Aspiration for a different destination to me. Across the Bethlehem, a bigger bite knife in a ball isn't something. If it wasn't so, half my fault. That's so high and breaking, look in the fall. I reached the top. Listen, I had unrestricted internet as a kid. I've been down some rabbit holes. I have seen some shit I should not have seen. I watched Happy Tree Friends. I watched My Little Pony get murdered. I forgot what that one My Little Pony series was, but that was fucked, and then I read the comic. I have seen things no child should have seen. Is that an orange beacon? It's an orange beacon. I have a purple and then I have a green one. It matches with like their aesthetic. Lost the passion that comes with living. This one's gonna be a light blue because it goes with like the snow theme. I started university. Took a geography course to learn the date lines and maybe use a sextant. Now I just press facsimile. Well, good. The entire thing is purple. Exactly what you want it to be. That's what you say. You wanna watch TV and sleep all day and lay in bed, but forgetting that I've gotta go to work and eat my food and pay my rent and reproduce and feed those kids and maybe use the sextant. I don't miss you. There's a thought of what it was. This is the part where I shut up and let you infest my brain. Your arms around like cortex, let you in and let you drain. You will never get rid of me. Oh, I'm like a fucking disease. I'll make a home in your gut, 'cause it's somewhere warm to sleep. What would you thought when you realize you'll never feel naive love again? Using pink customs and gloves is fun. One moment.
He's talking marriage and a future. He's picking
He look, he doesn't go into purple wood.
his knife in
No one needs a suture. Welcome to my texture pack. I don't miss you, but we were. 'Cause this is the part where I shut up and let you invest my brain. I fucking hate you. Cortex let you in, let you drain. You'll never get rid of me. Oh, I'm like a fucking disease. I'll make a home in your gut. 'Cause it's somewhere warm to sleep. It's okay. Anything to make you feel less alone. It's okay. Okay, for a second I thought that was like breaking. Anything. It's okay. I need those kids. Let me use the sextant. On the roof.
You look so pretty and I love this view.
I'm ready, she said as she put on her shoes, and I'm bound to forget. It's true, and those tricks on the wall can't put out the silence. Is it suck that I'm not so predictable? Me every dream is it such a bad thing? It's always sometimes things are as plain as they seem, darling. When I go, bury me 6 feet in snow. Here we are, wasted our chances for the last time. Oh, and when we go, I'll try not to think so slow. Skeletons, skeletons, what do we have here hiding on the mirror? Say it once, say it twice, try to be nice, but let's not lose ourselves. Summers so long have laughter screaming at the screen. Oh, it's understood that the both of us are no good. I'll always be that short little girl, always sealing his throat like he ever had something to say. And I'll say, I'll go. Bury me 6 feet in snow. Here we are, wasting our chances for the last time. No, when he go, I'll try not to be so slow. Skeletons, skeletons, what do we have here hiding from the mirror? Say it once, say it twice, try to be nice, no, let's not lose ourselves. Take my mind, take my body, oh, take my mother's conscience for me, sister, will you lend me all your strength. I'm bringing everyone home. Here we are, wasting our chances for the last time. And when we go, I'll try not to feel so slow. Skeletons, skeletons, what do we have here hiding from the mirror? Say it once, say it twice, try to be nice. Well, let's not lose ourselves. Da-da, 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 Thank you. I saw the comment. Okay. Do I have a sponge? I do not have a sponge. Wait. Keep on doing you. Keep on doing you. I fucking fucked up the beat. You can't dance. You can't move the beat. Always move your feet. It's like watching. I'll never understand. And thinking fun. And that's just how you play. And do your thing. Go on and do your thing. Put on the lightning and smoke up the fire. And when you do you, when you do you, I'm bumping on the floor. I'm knocking down the floor. When you do you, when you do you, yeah. You're afraid, you always pick it up. Almost dangerous. Things will never hold it down. No, I'll give me a heart attack. Go on and do your thing. Go on and do your thing. Down the lightning beds up the diamond. When you do you, when you do you, like something on the floor, knocking on the floor. When you do you, when you do you, keep on doing 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 you, doing you, keep on doing you. And on the lightning, there's up the fire, and when you do you. When you do you, bopping on the floor, knocking down the floor. When you do you, when you do you, on the lightning bells, knock up the fire bed. When you do you, when you do you, on the floor, knocking down the floor. You do you, you do you, keep on doing you, keep on doing you. Doing you, keep on doing you. I remember when I first started working on this, I was in college and there's people who at my school like know I'm a streamer. And there was one person who I no longer talk to. And I was like, hey, you can do this. And I was like, no, this is my build, kindly fuck off. Dude, this has almost been like a year project, but that's because I haven't played Minecraft in a while. I got boulders on my shoulders, collarbones begin to crack. There's very little left of me, and there's certain coming back. There's certain things I asked of me, and there's certain things I lack. I'm betting you're winning, and now we're just making up facts. Was it matter anymore? Would you believe the lies I told? You can play with the words. You sing these songs well. All left alone. We work ourselves out fine. You're playing with the numbers. We are running out of time. We are running, but you're a killer. And I'm your best friend. It's unfair, your situation. You say I'm changing. Sorry, I did not change the same. Can we talk about this later? Your voice is driving me insane. I try to write your poems, the words they don't make sense. I try to grip the pencil, but the words are too tense. I'm trying to tell you emotion, eyes don't seem to catch. I love to tell you theories, I can't remember how they went. You're a flashlight in a dark room, where loneliest blackout. I filtered out. I need you, but the batteries went out. They ran out, and you're a werewolf, and I'm a full moon. And you're very worst enemies will be gone soon. I think you're changing, where you don't gotta stay the same. We talk about this later. Your voice is driving me insane, 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 driving me insane. Yeah, college was fucking weird. I've never had so much drama happen in the span of like such a short amount of time. That was also the period I got dropped from so many Discords that it became a fucking joke. I have a drama queen in my class. I go to an art school, so there's preppy ass people who think they're better than everyone else and you want to punch them in the face. Is you better than me, better than the ways you wear. Every single detail spending me, everything inside your head. And I'm falling to the light. Anything you want to do, you and me intertwine. Oh, you can be the queen of shadows, and everything I learn, I'm slicing you. What the fuck, follow? Hello, Quack Wrestling is on a Polish school. Ooh, ow. I can be the dark, you can look right through me. In the flash alone, you're just my body. We can be the king of shadows. You can be the queen of shadows. Shadows, shadows. Shadows, shadows. Shadows, shadows. Shadows, shadows, you know your love isn't pale. Chase you like I know I could. Hold me with love that covers and say, tonight you let me be your hand. I just called it COD. Let me follow me into the light. Anything you want to do. You and me intertwine. Oh, can be the king of shadows. I'm chasing you. Tell you what to go, I'll follow. You everywhere, I'll check on you. Hey, is the thing here without Albedo being the standard banner true? No, it's someone else. It's Tanari that's being added to the standard banner, not Albedo. Also, hey bestie, I'm not pulling on the second half of 3.0 because I already have Kokomi and I've Ganyu. Sorry, Adori. I might pull for him, but again, 4 stars are... Yeah, I saw Albedo too. Nope, it's Tonari and Zhongli. They're not adding Albedo. They're not adding a previously 5-star into it. Even though they need to add a 5-star Geo character, they're not gonna add Albedo. No, he's on his own banner with Tonari for the first half of 3.0. I take you somewhere, walking. I don't know where. Get that with the. Oh shit. And I wanna kiss you, make you feel low. Yeah, Zhongli has his own banner in 3.0. It is Tonari and Zhongli for 2 weeks, and then it is Ganyu and Kokomi. That is what has been said everywhere. Another love, all my tears have been used up on another love. Love, my tears can use up on another love. My tears have been used up. Oh, again, they're all leaks, so take what I say with a grain of fucking salt. Is there a dolphin? Dude, the amount of times I've accidentally killed dolphins while doing this is ridiculous. Where are you, buddy? There you are. There's 2 of you! Hi! Wanna fight, but my hand's been broken once too many times. So I'll use my voice, I'll be so fucking rude. What's a game Lily made you cry? What Remains of Edith Finch is one of the games that has made me sob aggressively. Genshin has made me cry. Has made me cry a couple times, but not like full on sobbing. There's one other game. I cannot remember, but there's another game that made me cry. Tears have been used up on another love. Another love. Tears have been used up on another love. Another love. Oh my. Undertale. I don't think I've cried during Undertale. I probably have. No, I cried on Undertale. I never cried on stream playing Undertale, though. Yeah, there it is. I've been singing a song. Wanna sing a song that would be the stars. I've never played Call of Duty. And I wanna cry, I wanna fall in love. But all my tears have been used up on another love. Another love. All my tears have been used up on another love. Where the fuck did you come from? Used up on another love. Another love. All my tears have been used up. I don't even know what is playing. I took out my headphone. Oh, there's nothing playing. Oh no, it is. It's lo-fi. Perfect. Thank you, he's right here. That was good humor. You should giggle at a funeral. Everybody's disapproval. Should have worshipped her sooner. If the heavens ever did speak, it's the last two mouthpiece. Every Sunday's getting more bleak. It's poison instincts. They were born sick. You heard them say it. Imagine that for own absolute. Oh, you're screwed. Ship in the bedroom. Only heaven I'll be sent to is when I'm alone with you. It was born sick, but I love it. Meant me to beware. Hey, amen. 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 In a church, I worship like a god for the sight of your light. I'll tell you my sins and you can sharpen your knife. In my death instead, a good God, let me give you my life. Take me to church, I worship like a god at the sight of your life. I'll tell you my sins and you can sharpen your knife. I just instead, a good God, let me give you my life. If I'm a pagan of the good time, my love is in sunlight. If the God is on my side, she demand a sacrifice. Between the whole skin and something shining. The big of the main course, that's a fine looking high horse. What you got in the stables? It was unpainful, it was pasty, it looks plenty. This is something worth. Take me to church, I'll worship like a god at the side of your life. Tell you my skin's and me will talk on your life. At the start of your God, let me give you my life. Take me to church, I'll worship like a god at the side of your life. I'll tell you my sins and you can sharpen your knife. Leave my dead is dead, a good God, let me give you my life. No master again. Oh man, we're gonna be here for a while. There's no sweeter in the sun at all. Okay, it has been dark for way too long in this fucking game. Only seen. Only then I am human. Only then I... If you get a bladder infection, do not come for me. Also, Ray scares me to a certain degree. This bitch straight up said, I'm going in a Discord server and I'm fucking things up, and then proceeds to come back with 51 fucking screenshots of people to ban. Church, I worship like a god at the side of your life. I'll tell you my sins so you can sharpen your knife. Death is dead, a good God, let me give you my life. God at the side of your life, I'll tell you my sins and you can sharpen your knife. Leading my death is dead, for God, let me give you my life. I'm gonna be spawning a shit. Snow Golem army is gonna become a thing. No, but I like the day and night cycle for this world. Behind lie, you're getting better all the time. Some numbers didn't see it. Never clever words, self an unsuspecting herd. I also don't want to fuck up this world. Now dance, fucker, dance. Now we never had a chance. No one even knew it was really only you and I in the way. Shy that day. Also, I hate a lot of Genshin Baby characters. I don't know why. Please tell me the list of Genshin characters you hate. Cause Ray is not here. She has no power in chat. Discord's a completely different reason. We can walk away in the morning time. The lightning and the light. You're mighty No, you can honestly just say the character. I might ask why. I don't play Genshin, so shit. No, it was really only you, and I don't see the way. Oh my god, it's about to be fucking nighttime. Goddamn. I swear you did. Okay, Ayato, understandable. Understandable. Understandable, he's a rich boy with rich privileges. Completely understandable. His looks are so fair. Lightning in your eyes, you're ready for the light. Atlas, you bitch. Yeah, Toma. Why? Why? Why Toma? You never had a chance. Only it was you. It was really only you. Oh, dance, fuck a dance. Had a chance. It's really only you. Who the fuck? Between the eye, and I'm right between the eye. He's a Genshin character. We're discussing why Quack hates certain Genshin characters. Toma is basically just a motherfucker said, hey, welcome to this nation. By the way, you might get sniped and then proceed to get captured. I don't like him. I don't like his vibe. Motherfucker, he helped us. He's the whole reason. Actually, scratch that. He's the reason we got involved in a war. Also, no. Actually, I don't know. I can't defend my action. I fucked up that beat. Damn. Reasonable. You should hate him. I hate Yanfei the most. Why do you hate the lawyer? I understand she came out like a... She was introduced in a terrible quest, but why do you hate the lawyer? I'm also skipping a lot of my songs, because either I don't know them all or do not want to sing. Just so annoying. That's understandable. Oh, I'm going insane. Jason, after you, please don't leave me. See your eye watching away. That's how you left me in the cold. Understandable, but I want to see a reason why. You lose. You better run, better run. Your time is up. I hate Playground and Power Watching Sim. How did both of you talk about that? I can't remember how you hit me so bad. Another tables turn, apocalypse is coming. I can't remember when you left me so bad. In the end, I learned the rains and hell and angels could be bad. How did both of you mention Playground? Okay, that is completely fair. I thought it was gonna be like her family, but yeah, completely reasonable. Some say I'm losing my fate, and I know I'm just living on a prayer. Time keeps slipping away. I watch you burn down this house that we made. It's pitiful how you let me lose. You better run, better run. Your time is up, nothing you can do. Better run, better run. I can't remember any. That's understandable. A lot of people don't like Hu Tao's like personality. No, it's the Hu Tao mains I don't like. No offense, but some of y'all piss me off. Huh? Oh, what the fuck? Ah! But I'm going insane. No, I'm just living on a prayer. Now you're higher. watching away. Tell you left me in the cold. Get out. Get out. That's where I draw the line. Amber's best person. Why? What fell? Something fell. That's where I draw the line. Apocalypse is coming. She is the only person I can 100% say is helping the traveler with no fucking reason. She's just helping. Also, she has done so much. She helped Cully. And she was a best fucking friend. And she survived a Fatui agent. Let's get the fuck out of here with the Amber slander. Again, I fucking despise Mona, but get the fuck out of here with Amber. I will defend Amber with my fucking life. Sir, she doesn't have a... She's not like the best, like, oh, she's not the best 4-star. But I will die on this hill. If you can get her constellations... She's fucking overpowered. Hi, God. Hey. I bet you never know how that must be. I hate Paimon. Understandable. So, fun fact, the English voice actor has said some fucked up things, so a lot of people don't like playing with English. Honestly, no, I fucking despise Paimon. Like Japanese and Korean, it's slightly more bearable, but oh my god. The game did not pause. Alright, I have to make sure fucking the music in the background's playing. I hate Paimon for her voice. Yeah. Her beta voice was a lot better. It's Karina's normal voice. Okay, Fischl's Fischl. When you learn her backstory, you understand why she does it. But yeah, Fischl is just Fischl. That's acceptable. Yeah. Yeah, no, at this point, Mona sounds like someone squeaking a duck. Yeah. What is your top favorite? Lore-wise? I actually have to think about this. Xiao is number one for lore-wise because man has been through enough and I want to give him a hug. What is that? Is that my shadow? No, that's just a very conveniently placed fucking thing. Just in general. Xiao, Ganyu, and Tighnari because I love his design. Even though I could yell about Genshin, their colorism. But yeah, they're my three. Xiao because man was my first 5-star and the whole reason I started playing Genshin. Ganyu because I relate to her to a certain degree. And also she's very colorful. And then our new boy Tighnari because he looks like he can give me the best hug. Also, but his design is really pretty. Golem was staring at your soul. No, it was the building. Well, I mean, the golem is gonna get dropped the second this is built. Oh my god, this entire fucking thing is gonna... Never came back. Might Albedo, Kazuha. Oh, fuck, I forgot about Kazuha. Never mind, Kazuha takes number 3. And Chi-Chi? Someone appreciates Chi-Chi! Yay! Albedo and Kazuha are the same format, just switched. Changed my mind. Albedo is a chemistry major with an art minor. Kazuha is an art major with a chemistry minor. Tell me I'm wrong. They are the same person, just flopped. Yep, they're cool. They are. Albedo has one of the more interesting backstories, but also Kaya though has the best backstory, I think. No, I want to know more about the fucking Fatui. Give me Fatui lore. All lit up in a star. I like homeless farmers with on bridges. Ah, so this motherfucker. Pretty sure all of his friends are dead. Oh god, I made that as a joke. Are all of them actually dead? No, there's 1, 2, 3. I didn't do it. I didn't do it. Also, Raiden has a very, like, the Raiden Shogun has a very interesting backstory, which I really like. There's actually... Listen, point Albedo. That's fair. At this point, I would be happy to lose my 50-50s to anyone but Mona. Mona does not leave me the fuck alone. Which is why I despise her so much. Thank God. Bitch, let me fly. Oh, this is gonna be the easiest I've ever drained a section, thank God. I've never won a 50-50. I won 5 in a row, and then I think I lost it. I lost it to Kazuha's banner, and then I won my 50-50 on Klee's by accident. And then I lost Yanfei's. Not Yanfei's, Yoimiya's. But yeah, me and Ray are both skipping the second half of 3.0 because we both have Kokomi and Ganyu. Okay, I have to use the bathroom, but I'm gonna get the snow golems now. Why are the carved pumpkins terrifying? That is disturbing! I hate gacha games, that's why I installed Genshin Impact. That's completely fair, but I use the bathroom. I still need to play over 48. Yeah, I'll be back. probably the slime. A Dory? He's also not a slime. But you are absolutely fucking terrifying. Also, they had to nerf Ganyu, which I think is hilarious. Electro Caramel and a slime. It's not a slime, it's a genie. AR, do you remember Johnny? A friend? Johnny got a friend! I want to see friend. That's iron. Mirror on the wall. I can't stay running. Shit. Actually, that would have been fine. Yes. Not going home, going down the lonely road. It's too bad. Can't see you inside my mind. A little pony. I can't seem to tremble. That's a 4-star. Yep, Adori's a 4-star. I'm going, hey, I'm not going home. Lonely road. It's too bad. Also, yes. I haven't played with him enough, but he's so fun. He just punches people. It's great. It's really fun for me. 1, 2, 3. I'm gone. Hey. I got nothing. Welcome to Genshin. If I'm going to say this, if you're pulling for 4 stars when it comes to Genshin, you are basically gambling your fucking life away. Because Genshins also have their own, like, petty. And now Mr. Fish. It's fine, he was gonna die anyways. Can you not go in the fucking snow for love of fuck? I didn't get Toma either. Toma is an okay character. Which was guaranteed because of Kachi. Why?! I got 4 weapons and 2 Ningwans, but nah, someone bitched to Ray because she's in a Discord server with other people. And someone was like, "Oh, I don't know how to build Kazuha." And she's like, he's an EM character. You build him with like mostly EM." And someone was like, "No, you don't." It's like, "Yes, you do." Why are you bitching to Ray? Ray has been here since the fucking beginning. I was like, Ray has been playing since like 1 point something. That's ER, yes. No, it was so funny because they were like so determined. And Ray is just like, "Bestie, you're fucking with someone who's been here since the fucking..." They are someone who literally has, she's the one of those few people who has the alternate voice line when you meet Scaramouche. She's one of the few people who has it. Which, fun fact, ER is one of the rarest, like, main stats to get in that fucking, the Virulescent thing, the VB domain, so enjoy that shit. On a twinkling. Yeah, no, I love when people get into arguments with Ray and it's just like, dude, you're gonna lose. And some crit. You can get crit with him, but it's mostly energy recharge. No, it's either elementary mastery or energy recharge. One of those two works with him. It says it on the thing. It's one of those two. I can never remember. I am so sorry, Fish. But you are not my child, so I give little to no shits. Also, I will never forgive Microsoft, or whoever the fuck, Mojang. Why the fuck did I say Microsoft? For getting rid of Fireflies. Bitch, I want pretty cottagecore shit. Hey, fuck you, I got her on a second rerun, you bitch. Fuck you, I was one of those people who didn't get her. I am not surprised. Fuck you, I was one of those people. Inside your head. Got you for my first banner. Lucky you! Also, apparently people are... Okay. Here is my actual opinion. I'm gonna fucking strangle God. Here's my opinion on leaks. Because me and Ray were talking. And my snow golem's dead. I hate this. Ganyu is one of the most friendliest friendliest free-to-play characters, so enjoy that. But my things with leaks is I'm okay if you were like releasing like the map and everything. But don't go leaking fucking story. Please don't do that. Why are you here? Fuck you. Oh my god, there's more of you. Oh my god, there's fucking more of you. Kill them. Go, go, go. Go, go, go. But yeah, if you're leaking, like, the fucking Archon quest, I hope both sides of your pillows are warm. 'Cause fuck you. 'Cause it's been spoiled for Ray. Get the fuck out of my way. Heartless, but I don't. So people have like found out like main story plots, which are not fun when you're trying to experience the game. And so Ray likes knows some parts of like the main story quest, which is annoying. Can this song stop fucking coming up? Don't tell me, but tell me. I don't know it. Go ask Ray for that shit. I'm not on Genshin. I'm not on like the leak Genshin side. Ray is. All my information I get from Ray. So if you want the story leaked, go to her. At its best, soon if we ruined it all. Oh no, the glow squid! It's broken! Good. Fuck you. Guess what I pulled? Oh my god. Jesus. Yeah, no, I feel so bad for like a bunch of free-to-play people. Because this is also leaked. They're shortening a lot of the banners so they can get back on track before Ayaka's like indefinite banner. Which sucks because there's not gonna be enough time to get all the characters if you're free to play. Oh shit! Oh, thank God! I don't even think all my beacons are in like a correct placement. Yeah, they're all scattered differently. Perfect. Have to lose. Oh, for a second I thought I fell through the world. I was about to cry. Never forget the time in a completely... My dumbass is lucky. Oh, no, really? Yeah. So how long do you last now? 20 days? I think so. It's going through 3.0 to 3.2, because I think 3.4 is the lantern, right? Yeah, I think they're cutting them down to a week. Like, they're a week shorter. No idea. Away from me. Now there's something trying to hide for your hand, but it's cold. You pull away again, and I wonder what's on your mind. Me, you made a dumb mistake, and your voice begins to break. You say the cigarettes on the counter weren't your friends, they were my mates. Feel the color fading on my face. I know you love her, but it's over, mate. It doesn't matter, put the phone away. It's never easy to walk away. Let her go. It'll be okay. I look back at all the messages you sent. Oh, it wasn't right, but it was fucking with my head. Even the tongues. And when I touched your face, I know shit. But it's not the fact that you kissed him yesterday. It's the feeling of betrayal. It gets me in the shake and everything. I should walk away, but I just don't want to say. Friends say, I know you love her, but it's over, mate. Doesn't matter, put the phone away. It's never easy to walk away. Let her go. It'll be alright. Let her hurt for a bit of time. So bottoms up, let's forget tonight. Another and you'll be just fine. Let her go. Then heals. Shrimp? I'm not a shrimp. I'm literally just listening to a song. There's no one who I simp for at the moment. Love, you're born to fight. Nothing heals the past like time. We're born to fight. I know you love her, but it's over, mate. It doesn't matter, put the phone away. It's never easy to walk away. Let her go. You're okay. It's gonna hurt for a bit of time. So bottoms up, let's pretend tonight. On another end, you'll be just fine. Let her go. Be alright. It'll be alright. It'll be alright. What's the story quest you hate the most? There's no story quest I hate, but the one I'm most annoyed with is it's something Tales. It's an Inazuma quest. But it is a 7-day long fucking quest. And then you have to proceed to fight like the fucking Fatui, but they put my least favorite combination together. So I fucking despise it. Words of wisdom. That is like the only one I've fundamentally hated. But I've been it now, so I have like a whole area to explore, but like fuck me. The last time you know we're gonna find you. I see the line empty going. Your mission. No, something else. No. What just I need is just a pen. I know. I was born for this. It's an Inazuma one. They can stop. Don't get it. Forget it. I'm not until I'm on top. No. Alright, my goal is to get this drained. Yes, that one. I believe we can write a story. I believe we are the warriors. Learn to love the pain. From different places, we have the same name. 'Cause we're born for this. We were born for this. The smoking ones, so sparkling. How the fuck do people do this in survival? All my tears is white, they and night. What's inside, I know. I was born for this, no. I was born for this. Never use my voice. I cut out all the noise. Yeah, I can break this because that's already drained. I'm in love with that song. Fuck yeah! This song was almost put in as my senior quote. Believe, I believe. Son of a bitch. Same name. I'm sorry, God, can you fuck off with the weather? Yep. Like me, you just know you're not enough. Or has skill issues? Yes. Born for this just now. Oh God, what happened? What happened? Born for this. Bitrate is gone. The bitrate is dead. It is dead. Oh God, it is gone. It is in hell. It is in hell. The Dude Perfect song. I just know them because I like the band. I've known the score for a while. Also, the stream is breaking, which is entertaining. It was like, you want to end when you're done? No. My internet committed suicide. So did mine! It's like, get the fuck off. Cook. My shit can... Oh, I cannot have a light source, can I? Because snow. look at all the lonely people. Oh, look at all the lonely people. Eleanor Rigby tagged up the rice at the church where the wedding has been. The dream in the window. Mason keeps in the jar by the door. Who's it for? The lonely people. They all the lonely people. Do they all? You're in normal fucking range. Why are you still unstable, you bitch? No, it's not just you. Mackenzie, there is weather of the sermon that no one will hear. And the year. God, I'm not in the mood. We care, all the lonely people. They all come from lonely people. Do they all? Technical difficulties. Yep. Eleanor Rigby died in the church when they buried along with her name. Merkin. All the lonely people. All the lonely people. Look at all the lonely people. The lonely people. Oh, look at all the lonely people. Okay, perfect. I can just do snow. It's not getting better. Oh god, we are so far behind. What the fuck? Is this fucking Death Note the musical? How the fuck? Oh yeah, no, the bitrate is in the fucking 7th circle of hell. Goddamn, it's only 9. Alright, snow is gonna be my best fucking friend today. Is that a fucking glow squid? There's a 4-minute fucking delay. I'm gonna scream. Ayo, Twitch, can you not be a cunt? Wait, so it's a satellite problem? No, it's a fucking Twitch problem. Do we all have the same Wi-Fi company? No. Oh no, fucking glow squids are very much worthless. Why the fuck is there a creeper? Why does this look cool as shit? Why are you here? I don't do majority of my world quest. I'm American. That's a 4-minute delay. Fuck. to see you leaving. Alright. You're not getting this message until very much later, but have a good sleep, Snow. Yeah, this is all I was gonna do. Because I'm too lazy to fucking worry about this shit anymore. Also, I'm gonna go get fucking food. So yeah, I'll drain this, drop the fucking whatever. Drop the sand, and then I'm gonna dip. So yeah, whenever you see this, bye, Snow! Why are you here? Pavement hurt my feelings. I love That's the fucking loves you. There's a reason that London puts barriers on the June line. There's a reason. Yeah, there's a 4-minute fucking delay. On the train. There's a reason. Puts barriers on the June line. There's a reason. Puts barriers on the rails. There's a reason. Puts barriers on the June line. There's a